There are so many videos out there that will highlight what's great about living on Vancouver Island. I think there's even more videos that will tell you about what sucks about moving to Vancouver Island. Well, this is not one of the videos. Today, we're gonna break down what are the 6 types of people that should not move to Vancouver Island. Over all the years that my team and I have been helping people just like you to make the move to Vancouver Island, we've helped to see what are the patterns of success and also what are the patterns of failures for the different types of people that are moving to Vancouver Island. When you're thinking about making the move, no matter if you're in Calgary, if you're in Winnipeg, you're in Toronto, or if you're out in the East Coast, it is a large financial jump to make the move out to the West Coast. Even more, there's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of stress, and there's a lot of anxiety when you're moving yourself, your family, your lifestyle, maybe even your workplace out to the West Coast on Vancouver Island. So what we want to do is we want to avoid the pain and the extra cost if Vancouver isn't right for you. So in today's video, we're going to clearly identify what are the types of people that should not move to Vancouver Island, and also what are the types of people that just blend in here naturally to the West Coast life. Now, of course, there are some exemptions. So what you'll want to do is watch this video right to the end, because you're going to be able to clearly identify, are you in or are you out of living the West Coast Vancouver Island dream? So let's go get after it right now. I want to give a big shout out to the thousands of our subscribers that tune in each and every week for our videos. Now, if you're not a subscriber, you'll want to click on that button down below and tap that bell so you'll be the first to get real estate information on Vancouver Island and lifestyle information about living the West Coast dream. My name is Justin White from the High Tide Real Estate Group. My team and I get phone calls, emails, and texts each and every day from people like you, and you looking to make Vancouver Island their new home. So no matter if you're 9 weeks or 9 months away from making the move, all of our contact details are down below. Set up a Zoom call with myself, Justin White, or one of our licensed agents. Let's get those questions answered today so we can make the move smooth and easy for you and your family. Now, today we're talking about the types of people that should not move to Vancouver Island. Now, being in the real estate industry for so many years, we work with getting people into the homes that fit what they need, like, and want, but also we're working on the psychology. As you've seen with many of our videos, we go in and we tour different areas, towns, cities all across Vancouver Island. We go into homes, townhomes, and condos, but we often don't talk about the psychology of the people that are making the move to Vancouver Island. We are one of the most unique places in the world, and a lot of the people who make the move here come here for a summer vacation and decide this is the lifestyle I want to make, the chill, easygoing West Coast life. But you need to know what are the people that would not fit into this to avoid costly moves, costly mistakes for you and your family, and ultimately having regrets. So we're going to go through and describe the types of people who should not be making the move. Now, of course, there's always exceptions. So with this, take this with a grain of salt, because you may be saying, Justin, that's not me. I don't need this, or I don't need that, or I don't mind the weather, or I don't mind having a lack of this type of amenity. But the purpose of this video is to get you thinking if Vancouver Island will be the right fit for what you need, what you want, and what your family desires. So the very first type of people that should not be making the move to Vancouver Island are party animals. So what do I mean by this? If you're looking for an area, for instance, I grew up near Toronto area. So when I was young and a teenager going into my early 20s, when I wanted to go down and have that party life, we were about 30 minutes away from downtown Toronto. We would hop on the GO train and we'd go down and we could party all night. Literally, it is the city that never sleeps. Well, Vancouver Island is often the sleepy city that always sleeps. This is, now I didn't create this, they say it is home of the newlyweds and nearly deads, meaning that we have a lot of senior population, we have a lot of young families, which eliminates the need to have a lot of nightlife. Now, there are obviously different types of partying going on with music festivals, small pubs, live music. And if that's your jam, it is perfect. But if you're looking for the all-night party scene, Vancouver Island may not fit what you're looking for. Now, we do have a population of over 1 million people on the island, which seems like a lot, especially if you're coming from a small town, but it is a large spread out demographic. Most of the population are in just the southern tip of Vancouver Island, Victoria, which has approximately 500,000 people. When I first moved to the island almost 30 years ago, that was the spot that I landed in. And I went there and it did have more of a lifestyle. Now, as the years have gone by, we've gone through a pandemic. This has actually strained the entertainment industry, and we've seen a lot of the closings of nightlifes and bars going on. So it's more of a small laid back type of feeling. Again, a lot of those music festivals that are happening in the summertime, but you're not gonna get the big rock concerts. If you're making the move from places like New York, LA, London, Toronto, where you're used to having that nightlife and that real electric energy that's going on, no matter what hour of the day it is, Vancouver Island may not fit what you're used to. Now, when I made the move out from Toronto, I had a great friend named Jennifer. That's why I moved out. I had one person I knew here. She came, lived here for years, and then she ended up migrating back to the Toronto area because there was that lack of vibrancy and nightlife. So if you are a party animal, Vancouver Island may not be the place that you're looking for. What we've seen actually in the last 5 years is we've seen even a reduction in the amount of outdoor music festivals. Now, we just had a Nickelback come and it was over 15,000 people. And I think that's because the island craved a big name concert. So if you're looking for those big concert and those big ticket names that are coming up, you may have to go over to Vancouver. So you'll want to calculate in ferry ride or air flight and expensive hotels. We do get smaller names. Nickelback was one of the largest ones, but we get a lot of small local bands that travel across BC and across Canada. Now, I've seen some great entertainment on the island and some that I've never heard of that have become my favorites. But again, if you're looking for those big concert names, Vancouver, Toronto will be the places that you'll want to go. The next type of people that may not suit Vancouver Island is the hustle culture. What do I mean by that? Well, Vancouver Island's known to be chill and easygoing. We've got this West Coast lifestyle. So for a lot of people, it is hard to get used to that, especially if you're moving from a metropolitan city where, you gotta go, 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 go. And when we talk about work, now I'm a business owner, I have a real estate team, I have 2 other companies. Some of the biggest challenges when you talk to local business owners is finding reliable staff who want to work on a full-time basis. Because we live in such a beautiful area, there's this work-life balance. People love to work part-time. They want to make enough just to survive, but they also want to make enough so they can enjoy the quality of life. We've got amazing trails, we got hiking, we got ocean, we got Mount Washington, we've got the West Coast. There's so much to do that people don't want to spend it in an office all day long, which takes away a lot of that hustle bustle drive. Now, someone like myself who's business orientated, who's always thinking about how can I make it better, it can be advantageous. So if you're moving your company or you're working online and you want to really thrive and grow your business or grow your position in the company, this may be the perfect spot for you because now that's advantageous. Now, the majority of people, again, are very easygoing, which is very much a big attractant for people to live on Vancouver Island. In fact, 92% of the people that are buying on Vancouver Island are not from here. They're making the move from the Lower Mainland and Vancouver and Squamish and Whistler, Surrey, and all these areas where it's go, 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 and they're tired and they're burnt out. And now they've worked all their life, they just want another quality of life where they can breathe and enjoy nature. And if they're still working, they maybe don't need to work 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours a week. They could work 25 hours a week and really enjoy that time with their friends and their family. When are you gonna see this? A lot of it is gonna be in summertime. Because we live in this environment where we get a limited amount of sunshine, what happens in the summer? People wanna take more time off. So you're gonna see even during the weekdays, you're gonna see more people at the beach. You're gonna see more people out enjoying the water. You're gonna see more people at the lakes than you will see them in the office per se. So So there is this really work-life balance. If you're attuned and you are craving that hustle, bustle, go, 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 Vancouver Island might not be for you. But if you're into business, this may be one of your biggest superpowers because of the chill, easygoing lifestyle. Now, when it comes to fashion, that is also very chill. When you come to the island, you're gonna notice in the winter, there's gonna be a lot of plaid jackets going on, a lot of toques. I think if you're from the States, you call them beanies. It's very easygoing with blue jeans going on and loafer running shoes. This is kind of the standard. Now, when my wife Bianca moved up here from the United States, she used to live in Denver and then she spent many years in Miami, where fashion is very much on the forefront for a lot of people. So when she came here, she's like, what's with all the plaid? What's with all the beanie toques? And so it really took her a few years to get into that chilled, relaxed dress down. So if you're actually looking to get more fashion purchases, you want the high end, you want the Gucci, you're gonna have to go and make the move to Vancouver, or again, you're gonna have to travel LA, Toronto for that, because Vancouver Island will have a lot of earthy people here and a lot of kickback, laid back. Now in the summertime, flip-flops, t-shirts, and short sleeve shirts, very common. You're gonna see that everywhere. So here, fashion isn't held up onto a high standard. It's more of a relaxed, easy, West Coast going lifestyle. Now, my wife has dressed down a bit, but I'll tell you something, when we go out on date night, she's usually the best dressed woman in the entire restaurant, and I'm very proud to have her on my arm. In fact, people comment on the flair because she is Brazilian as her background. Her flair of her dresses and the loud, brilliant colors, you could not buy that anywhere on stores in our local area. So if you are looking for that hustle bustle lifestyle, you want to think twice about making the move to Vancouver Island. Now, a great barometer in hustle lifestyle is when you're talking to realtors. And here on the West Coast, it is still not uncommon that we're working 7 days a week, but we tend to start a little bit later in the day. 10 a.m. isn't very common, and then we tend to shut the phones off by about 8 p.m. I know myself, I want to enjoy the evening with my family, so don't be surprised if you call me at 8:39 and you'll be getting my voice message. Now, compare this to Toronto market, where realtors will be up till 2, 3 a.m. still putting deals together. So this is a great way to check in on what the hustle and bustle is like in the area. Now, if I haven't already scared you about making the move to Vancouver Island, my team and I are the #1 relocation real estate team for people looking to make the move to Vancouver Island. A lot of families are coming here on vacation, and that's a perfect time to start thinking about making the move. Now, if you haven't watched our video that I recently put out a couple weeks ago about the 5 mistakes that you'll want to avoid about making the move, you'll want to watch that video there. And in the video, we talk about how we set up what's called an exploratory tour. This is when you and your family make the trip to Vancouver Island and make a staycation out of it. And we start to go out, we don't look at 1 or 2 homes, we actually take a whole day, look 6, 7, 8 homes in that area that suits what your family needs and what they want and where they envision themselves living. This will start to really give you context on the real estate market in Vancouver Island, because if you are making the move from Vancouver or Calgary or even the interior BC, the market here is so uniquely different that you need to be submersed into it to get that perspective about A, is it the right place, what is the marketing like, and how quick homes are selling. Again, this is something that my team and I help people out each and every day, just like you. Now, all of our contact details are below. As I mentioned, set up a Zoom call. Let's get those questions answered now. Even if you're thinking of making that move in 1, 2, or 3 years, let's start opening up what are the possibilities, the perspective, and get those questions answered now to make sure it's the right place for you and your family to live. The next type of person who should not be making the move to Vancouver Island is people who are just starting out. So if you're young, you haven't got the experience, you haven't got degrees, you haven't got business, this may not be the right fit for you. Statistics show that Vancouver Island is one of the most expensive places to live in all Canada. In fact, BC, most of my clients I'll ask, what does BC stand for? And they're like, British Columbia? No, it means bring cash. because this is one of the most expensive real estate markets in all of Canada. It's also the most expensive for the cost of living. Food, gasoline. If you think of all the amenities, they've got to be either trucked over on a ferry because we're on an island, or they've got to be flown in, which adds to the expense of living on Vancouver Island. Now, if you're just starting out and you don't have university degrees or you don't have specialty backgrounds, you're going to be having a lack of jobs to go to because we have a lot of service industry jobs that don't pay a high wage. Unlike areas like Toronto, Calgary, or Winnipeg, where you may find more manufacturing, there is virtually no manufacturing in large scale here on Vancouver Island. So if you're looking for a first-time or second-time job, I would strongly suggest looking in Alberta, Calgary, or Edmonton, where they will take people into either the mining community or into the oil fields, where they pay a really high premium and the cost of living is quite affordable. And if you're living in a camp, they will be supplying you with lodging and food or per diem as well to help pay for that. The other areas that you may want to look at if you're just starting out is going to be the outskirts of Toronto, the GTA. Now, in Toronto, again, very expensive to live, but if you start looking at areas like the Durham region or the Niagara area, prices will be lower in cost of living, including rent or buying a home. And then again, you're gonna have more job abundancies. Now, if you're just starting out and you're coming to Vancouver Island, rent is at a premium. If you're looking at renting a one-bedroom apartment, be prepared. It can be anywhere from $1,800 up to $2,500 a month. So it's very typical when we see people getting a one or two bedroom and they're loading it up with 2, 4, or 6 people, trying to keep those costs low. Now, food costs are food costs. We all got to eat, but there's a difference between eating prime rib and craft dinner. Even craft dinner is expensive here on the West Coast. I remember when I was a kid, it was 59 cents a box. The other day, I was at the grocery store and it was over $3 a box for craft dinner. Now, we're not eating craft dinner, not for saying it's not a great thing to eat, but just to notice that the prices of everything have gone up, especially since pandemic times that have happened. So the cost of living is very high here. So if you're just starting out, my suggestion B is A, secure a job here because jobs are so limited. The amount of people that are moving here already have online positions, meaning that they can work anywhere in the world. This has changed the way that we work and we live because people want a quality of life. So if you can make a really good living by having an online job, then when you're off, you can take the time going surfing, hiking, swimming, enjoying all of the outdoors that Vancouver Island has to offer, then it's a winning combination. But if you're just starting out, I'd be second guessing making the move to Vancouver Island. I would look at those other metropolitan areas. I would look at Alberta and Southern Ontario. The next type of people are urban lifestyle people. These are people who love living in a city where all the amenities are at your fingertips. Now, I love traveling to big cities. I love going to London because of the Broadway shows. I love hopping on the tube. I love the choice of all the restaurants. I love that there's always something to do no matter what time of the night. That's not the lifestyle here on Vancouver Island. It is very sleepy, as we mentioned. So urban lifestyle, you'll get a couple of pockets of urban lifestyle here. One pocket you're going to get is in Victoria area, where it's a lot more denser around the downtown area and the inner harbor. The other one is going to be Nanaimo. Now, Nanaimo has a population approximately 125,000. Victoria is 500,000. You add those together, that's 625,000 people, and there's 1 million all over the island. So that means that we're going to have a lot of smaller communities that are spread out, especially if we start going to areas like Tofino off the West Coast, which has an average population of 1,600 people, but achieves over 3 million visitors a year. So if you're used to that urban lifestyle where you don't want a car, you're gonna use public transportation, you're only gonna have a couple limited areas to choose from. And if you're looking for those Broadway shows, the concerts, the big events, the sporting events, you're gonna have to be taking the drive over and taking the ferry or thinking about taking a flight over to Vancouver because they're limited here. Now, we love living on the island because it's a slower pace, because of the beauty of nature, but we also love to travel. Now, we live in the Comox Valley area, which is amazing because we have a very small but international airport. So if we want to take the jump, we recently went to Cancun. We flew from the Comox Valley over to Calgary, which is the hub for WestJet, and from there, straight direct to Cancun. If you like to go to Puerto Vallarta, there are direct flights from the Comox Valley right to Puerto Vallarta. So you can go in 4.5 hours from having gumboots to flip-flops on, from having your plaid jacket to a margarita in hand, which I think is awesome. So we do have that accessibility to go throughout the world. My wife Bianca and I and our daughter Vida, we're heading down to Brazil, to Rio de Janeiro in January. So we're taking a flight from here over to Toronto and then from Toronto down to Brazil. So there is accessibility, but if you're looking for that urban lifestyle on a daily basis, this may not be the right fit for you, but you can combine urban once in a while with traveling with the lifestyle of laid back island living. Now it's a winning combination. If you don't enjoy a temperate climate, Vancouver Island won't be right for you. If you love to have all those 4 seasons where you're getting that hot, dry summer, you're getting a beautiful, crisp, cold fall, and then you're leading into having snow and having that winter wonderland, well, you're not gonna get that. We live in a temperate rainforest here. We average a lot of rainfall. Now in the summers, we do get warm summers, but we don't get hot, dry summers. They're very comfortable. It's great if you're going out on the bike, if you're going rollerblading, you're enjoying time on the boat. You'll get some sun time, but it's not going to be those hot, dry summers that you're going to get maybe out in the east coast of Canada, or if you're in Toronto or even in Calgary where you're getting 30 degrees, 35, 40 degree. We average 26 to 28 degree on our hot days in the summer. Now, a lot of people are looking for that because they want to be comfortable. As well as in the winter time, there's a saying that says, we don't get a lot of snow, we get a lot of rain, but you don't have to shovel it. So our average temperatures in the winter is 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. So as a kid, I grew up near Toronto. We would make snow forts, we'd go tobogganing. You're not going to get that. If you've got kids that are looking forward to that, that may not be the lifestyle. We will get snow here, but it often rains and it dissipates in 2 to 3 days. That snow is gone. Now, this is on the average. We have had those winters where we've had more snow, but as global warming, believe it or not, is happening, we are getting less and less snowfall here on Vancouver Island. Now, what is great is that we get all that beautiful rain, which keeps everything lush and green. And lately, we've been getting more forest fires, so our summers have been getting hotter, so we are praying for the rain to keep those forest fires down. Now, in the middle of the winter, my family and I, we love Mount Washington. Now, we do have 2 ski resorts on the island. The biggest one is going to be Mount Washington, which is located in the Comox Valley. Statistically, it gets the most amount of snowfall out of any mountain in North America. We average 500 to 600 centimeters of snow each year. For my US friends, that's 12 to 14 feet of snow. So if it is 5 degrees and raining, the elevation on Mount Washington is 5,500 feet. So for every 1,000 feet, you're going to drop 1 degree in temperature. So 5 degrees Celsius and raining in the Comox Valley means 0 and a buttload of snow on Mount Washington. It's not uncommon that we will get 30 centimeters of snow one night, 30 centimeters of snow the next night, 40 centimeters of snow the next night, and have these beautiful, we call them powder days that are happening. We've got other videos that go into Mount Washington where I actually take the video camera and I snowboard down the slopes. Then we check out real estate in the village. Because it is a resort, you've got everything from condos to chalets to townhomes all available on the mountain. Now, here's the great thing. If you're in the Comox Valley, it's only 30 minutes to the top of the mountain. If you're living in Victoria, you've got a 2.5 hour drive and you can be waist deep in powder, snowboarding, or skiing. So really we get the best of all worlds, having the snow, and then you can come down and enjoy the greenness, or you can be out in the ocean. My friends and I, once a year, we call it the Millionaire's Day, where in the same day, we go snowboarding, salmon fishing, and golfing. There are not too many places in Canada, let alone in the world, where you can do all three in the same day. So we do get a lot of moisture here. So again, now if you're looking for warmer climates, I would say start to research places like Kamloops and Kelowna, which are in the central interior of BC. Even a Soyuz, which is known as Canada's desert, where temperatures can get 35 to 40 degrees plus Celsius in the summertime. Now on the flip side of that, they do get extreme winters with a lot of snow, but the snow out in the interior is a lot fluffier, a lot lighter. They call it champagne snow. So you've got ski resorts out there like Silver Star, Big White, which are other alternatives. But if you don't mind a little bit of dampness and snow on the mountain, Vancouver Island could be the exact place you're looking for. But if you're looking for more extremes in all four seasons, you may want to look at other parts of Eastern Canada. And the final type of people who should not move to Vancouver Island are people who don't value the outdoors. We're living in one of the most expensive places in all Canada to live. And the reason people do that is for the value of nature. Everything from the hiking trails, to the ocean, to the lakes, to the rivers, to fishing for salmon, to whale watching. There is so much to do on Vancouver Island. That is the number one reason people are choosing to make the move here. If you're looking to stroll the beaches, we have beautiful beaches. I talked about going to Tofino. If you haven't heard about Tofino, you'll want to Google Tofino, because it is a place where you can go surfing, you can walk the rainforest, and you can enjoy some of the Canada's top resorts and spas. Tofino is from Victoria. You're looking at a 2.5 to 3 hour drive. If you're coming across the ferry and you're heading to Nanaimo, you're an 1.5 hour drive over to Tofino, but it is the West Coast jewel. It's something about the energy when you're walking along Long Beach or going through those West Coast trails through the rainforest. It is a magical place. Speaking of trails, we also have the West Coast Trail, which goes all the way down the western part of Vancouver Island. So if you're looking for a little adventure, you're looking for more ruggedness to get away from it all, this would be a place that you'll want to go. People come to get connected with nature. As all the craziness and busyness is happening in the world, south of the border with the president that's happening there, and tariffs and the high cost of living, more and more people are choosing to make the move to Vancouver Island to unplug from the city and plug into what's organic. So don't panic. The lifestyle out here and the nature supports it. The other thing is, we talk about Vancouver Island, but there are thousands of islands that are around Vancouver Island. So my family and I, we have a boat. We go out island hopping. If it's Quadra Island, Cortez Island, Denman Island, one of my favorite is Hornby Island. Now, Hornby Island, why it's well known, it's known as Canada's Little Hawaii. They have a white sand beach with aqua blue water coming in there, and is one of our favorite places to go. You've got a ton of islands, Lasqueti Island, Gabriel Island, the list keeps going on and on. No matter where you're gonna live on Vancouver Island, there's always gonna be other islands around which have unique lifestyles and unique people, and also unique styles of homes. So if you're really looking to get away from it all and you don't want the Costco's and the Walmarts and the Home Depots, this would be a place that we would start to look at which island suits what you and your family are looking for. And of course, we're talking about living and enjoying the value of the outdoors. No matter what activity that you're doing, the fresh air on Vancouver Island, I mentioned that we love to travel. We just got back from Cancun, but as soon as we got off the plane and we smelled the air, my wife said, "This smells like home." There's something about the mist of the air and the fresh ocean salt that brings me back to Vancouver Island. So for people who don't value the outdoors and you're looking to live, work, hustle, make the money and grind away, again, I'm going to steer you in different areas of Canada. We'll look at Calgary, we'll look at Toronto, we'll look at Vancouver. Even if you slightly like the outdoors, but you want that city lifestyle, Vancouver and the Lower Mainland would be somewhere where we would discuss and talk about. Again, it's all for what your family needs, wants, and desires. And what are you guys envisioning for your West Coast dream, because living on the island is all about living in the outdoors and living in nature. Well, today's video was a little different than what we've done in the past. Today, I wanted to sit back and really reflect about what are the patterns of success for people that move to the island, and also patterns of failure, meaning what's the psychology? What do people value? What do they want? What do they need? And also, will Vancouver Island suit them? So today we've talked about everything from being a party animal to being a hustler to wanting that lifestyle of nightlife. But maybe you're looking to enjoy a little bit easier going of a West Coast dream, because it's all about chilling and living in nature here on Vancouver Island. Now, if you and your family are looking to make the move, all of our contact details are down below. Set up that Zoom call with me, Justin White, or one of the licensed agents on our team. Let's get those questions answered now so we can help make the move smooth and easy for you and your family. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you smash that subscribe button and tap that bell so you'll be the first to get notifications about the real estate market on Vancouver Island, and of course, the lifestyle of living the West Coast dream. And if you and your family are planning a trip to Vancouver Island, reach out. Let's have that conversation. Let's set up an exploratory tour. So while you're here enjoying the area, let's look at different pockets of the island to find out which one really suits what you and your family envision for living in British Columbia. Until then, we'll see you on the next video.